It's showtime, folks. Welcome in, Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063, the game on this Friday. We're live today at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel. He's Big Joe Dubin. I'm Chase McCabe. Dr. Crane, Nick Frazier on the ones and twos. Sean Mark is here as well. Hope you're having a great start to your day. We're almost there. We've almost made it to the weekend, JoJo.
I consider it the weekend already, buddy.
I mean, pretty much.
We're
because
here.
You start this show, you know it's a party.
Right. You know what's going on. It's like being at Spinnaker's in Panama City. Come through the door, you don't know what awaits, but you know you're going to have a heck of a time today. It's all that matters.
Yes, for sure. Shout out to our man Nick Keyser. He just signed off with Robbie and Rexroad. He's going to come down here. We'll, Dr. Crane has a dance number planned for him.
Nice.
So that'll be fun. So
I took out the splits. It just
really,
yeah. I didn't want to tear anything.
Well, that was good. I mean, you spent like a week working on this, so Joe and I tried to give you some advice, but I mean, you talking about dancing and clogging as he likes to do.
Oh,
I mean, you give him advice, he gets a little defensive.
Dr. Crane did a clogging demonstration. He had a cup of water on his head, and he danced for 45 seconds and didn't spill that water. I was like, man, that's talent. That is talent. Buck dancing and clogging.
I ended up giving that little cup of water to someone in the crowd, which was kind of nice.
I know, God, and they were all crying and everything. Amazing.
Good. So we look forward to that later in the show. Chris Sanders is going to join us. Greg Wyshynski, who usually joins us on Thursday, will join at 10:30. Full disclosure, I did fall asleep during the Preds game last night, and I woke up. What was funny is I fell asleep like at the end of the second period. I woke up, and the second period was on, and I was really confused because I had woken up to the replay, I guess.
Oh.
So I didn't know what had happened until this morning, and they won in the shootout.
That's right.
That was good.
Good for them. Go out feeling good about yourself.
And for all of you that are like, they need to lose, they are locked in. They are locked into that third spot. We'll see how the lottery falls. They can't do any worse. They can't do any better. So no longer will I allow this, you got to lose.
How many teams are in the lottery? 7, 8?
Yeah, something like that.
What's the NBA? Isn't the NBA like 8 or 9?
I don't.
Maybe they could fix it the way the NBA lottery fixed it in 1985, so the New York Knicks could draft Patrick Ewing that year.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So,
yeah, right. The show.
So sorry, I forgot to bring the video up. So
what video?
Connected to that? The restream, where we do our video.
Oh, my computer. Sometimes it wants to work, sometimes it doesn't. Now it's.
Will you just get a new computer?
Hey, man, you stay in your lane.
Well, this is my lane. It's affecting your work, so get a new computer.
It's up. There we go. It's up now. Good. All right, fine. I'll have to renegotiate with my computer the same way Nico's got to renegotiate.
Yeah,
with
well,
Tennessee.
let's start that. So the news comes out that Nico Iamaleava is seeking a new multi-million-dollar NIL deal just ahead of the transfer portal opening up. Adam Sparks says it creates a tense situation for the Vols, who finished spring practice with their orange and white game on Saturday. So here's what I'm going to say to this.
Love it.
Y'all did this to yourself.
Yep.
There's no regulations on this. So, I mean, he's well within his right to do this based on what the rules are. But at the same time, like, I got news for you, Nico. You're good. You're not that good. Because you got embarrassed in the playoff game. You look terrible. And you're really going to sit here and try and renegotiate after that? Now, you go and win the Heisman. All right. Go for it. But you're not doing that.
Well,
so my thing is it George McIntyre?
Yep.
Get ready.
No, you don't want him. Not now. Not now.
Not
you don't want him now.
No, I know. But
so I don't blame Nico at all.
No, based on the rules, I don't either. But
his family got involved. UT now is involved. This story did not want to come out. Here's why I laugh about this. So evidently UT is mad at On3 for reporting this, like really mad at On3.
Okay.
Wednesday, On3 released a list of 10 quarterbacks in college football to watch out for. Nico's not on that list. So Wednesday, this starts dropping how Nico want to renegotiate and his money, and he's not happy. He's going to go to USC or whatever. All the rumors. So On3 yesterday releases another list.
And now he's on it.
Guess who's at number 10?
Yeah,
Nico. So what's going on here? Did On3 jump the gun? Is all allegations? or is this accurate? And now they left him out, didn't mean to. There's a lot of smoke here. And we
Sure.
always say where there's smoke, there's fire. And look, so is this a new game? You have a good year, now you're going to renegotiate your contract. What if Tennessee says, we're not paying you that? What happens then? Then he goes off someplace else. I mean, there's a lot of tentacles here. This is I think a huge story that's going to affect college football.
Oh, I think so too, because I mean, he's not the first to do this. He's not going to be the last to do this, and it's only going to get worse unless they step in and actually, put some regulations to how all this works. But the fact that you read a headline that says is negotiating a new contract, I mean, that's what this is. It's a pro sport,
Right? It is. Yeah.
and it's like we see it in the NFL all the time where.
Oh my gosh.
Somebody will ask, for a new contract or what have you. And it's like, dude, you're not that good. Like what have you done to deserve that? And again, I think he's a good quarterback. I don't think he's great. I mean, there were some times last year against, major opponents, tough opponents that you're like, oh, and granted, he's got to grow. He had to grow into the role a little bit, but I don't know. This is just all very silly to me.
Well, it is, but look, and you're right. This is the world they've created now, and so now that's what happens if Jake Wallman has 9 sacks next year, and he expected to have 0 sacks, and then I'm just throwing a name out there. Do you
Jake Wallman
renegotiate midseason? Do you renegotiate? I mean, where does this end?
There's no rule. I mean, there's no rule that says you can't.
Right.
I mean, here's the other thing. We're all giving. Not we're all, but a lot of people, still with the knock on Cam Ward is that he's, quit playing in the middle of the bowl game, right?
Yeah, pathetic.
Well, okay, that's your opinion.
Mhm.
Some might say Derek had I thought, a valid point yesterday of like, okay, well, he's protecting his investment.
Oh God, here we go with that.
And Derek's like,
They don't play. Why'd you play the first quarter?
It's a fair question too.
Yeah.
But Derek was like, I'm. Like, if my guy's playing, I'm playing. If he's not playing, I'm not playing. And that's kind of the attitude of a lot of guys. Bowl games, and I get it. I get what you're saying. I don't necessarily disagree with you. You look at it as he quit on his team, all that. Bowl games, I'm kind of like whatever because nobody really cares anymore.
Why did he play the bowl game?
I don't know.
To break the record.
Yeah. Okay. Then that was it.
So
Right.
Is that selfish? Or is that going to get it and then stop?
Does that help his stock? I mean, anything he did was to help his stock. Now, if you quit in the middle of, let's say Tennessee's playing Alabama next year, and he doesn't have this contract, but it's close, and he all of a sudden goes to coach and goes, "Hey, I'm not playing until I get the new deal done." Now we got major problems because it's like, dude, you're 21 years old. Get the bleep in, like I want to be like, get on the field,
right. Right.
So, but again, I go back to you've done this to yourself because the NCAA, which sits on their ass and doesn't do anything, which has, the Supreme Court passed this, NIL became a thing, and they sat there like Homer on the roof going, oh, we need Congress involved. We need the U.S. government involved that, is still trying to, they got bigger stuff to worry about. But we need them to come and tell us what to do because we have no idea. What do we do? And it's like, all right, put a committee together and make up rules. One of the greatest coaches of all time retired because he got tired of dealing with this bull. I mean, think about that.
Saban?
Yeah.
Because he knew the game was level.
Right. He knew things were changing. But again, he didn't want to deal with some of the crap that, is now happening
because he controls.
It's a pro sport.
Yeah, he can't control it anymore. Look, think with Nico. Remember this: the NCAA does not have subpoena powers, so they can't do this and that. And the joke now is, what are you going to do? Nobody's going to. We'll sue you. We'll win and put it off as long as we can. Bigger problem is this got out. People aren't happy. What's going to happen if they don't negotiate to a deal which he feels good? Because I think he's making $2 million. $2 million. He's making $2 million, and he wants to triple that. This is all the reports. I ain't paying him. And again, he's a good quarterback, but he's not Peyton Manning. He's not to that level, and I'm just not going to spend the money on him. and see where it goes. And if he doesn't want to sign, what happens to him? This is an aftershock to me felt all around. It's like, I had a great year. What are you going to pay me? And that's it. We've talked to coaches who've had players come and said, hey, what you got for me? Like, you're a third team running back. I don't have anything for you. You earned this. And like, oh, well, I'm going to transfer. Then transfer. I'll find somebody else to come in here and do this right now. But for Nico, this is just the beginning of this. And look, you deserve six. You think you deserve $6 million? Fine. Tennessee doesn't want to pay you the money. What are you going to do then? You're going to walk? You're going to say goodbye before the spring game? So I look, I know they got George McIntyre up there from Brentwood Academy. You do not want him starting for you in September. You
No.
just don't.
615-737-1025 is our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHonda.com. Tennessee fans, I want to hear from you. Are you nervous? Are you worried? Do you care? Like, is there a group of you that's like, good riddance? What is the general feeling on this situation with Nico this morning? Basically threatening, I guess, to transfer if he doesn't get a new NIL contract.
Let's say that again.
Threatening. That's what
Wow.
he's doing. 615-737-1025. We're live today from the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes, and our show, of course, is presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel here on 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 the game on this Friday. We're at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. Our man, Dr. Crane, is back at the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership with a buzz. Is always about great service. Talking about Nico and his contract negotiations, something like that. Now, a few of you have weighed in, and I saw that basically there was a report that somebody close to the family said, "Nah, we're good. Like there is no negotiation." Now everybody's trying to blame, as you said, On3 for an erroneous report. Matthew in Nashville said this is the second time On3 has posted lies about Nico. The first was back in December after the playoff loss to Ohio State. Then yesterday, Nico's dad shut down the rumors last night. He said they're happy with the current contract.
Of course he is. Meanwhile, so where there's smoke, there's always fire.
Exactly.
They
That's
just
what I was
not
going to
just
say.
grabbed this story.
Sure.
On3 did.
No.
The only thing with me is the graphic. The graphic on Wednesday, Nico's not in the graphic. Thursday, he's in the graphic. It's a top 10 quarterback. So what happened? Did the other guy just not get there in time to get his picture taken? I mean, it's weird. The whole thing is weird. And now the story's blown up, and now you're not getting it back in. I mean, it's out.
So I always like texts like this, and I'm not picking on you, but 0247 says, "Bye. College quarterbacks come and go. I bust my butt at my job, and I'm not making $2 million a year, let alone asking for a triple step raise." I get that, and I'm with you. Like I'm not either, but I mean they have been allowed to be in this position. Now, I don't think Nico has done anything to warrant a raise or however we're wording this.
Right.
I think that this is what, it's a power play. It's like, hey, let's see what we can get. They may have seen something or heard something like, see some of these 5 stars coming in or 4 stars coming in and are like, oh, we need to capitalize or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
But I mean, the way the landscape is now in college football, it's just like the NFL. If he goes out there and earns it, then okay, he earns it.
Yeah.
And like good on the kid. Let's just say Nico, he don't win the Heisman, but he's top 3. And he has a great year and they make the playoff. Maybe they don't win it all, but he greatly improves upon last year. He'd have 1 year of eligibility left. Is that right?
He's a redshirt sophomore, so he's
2.
Yeah, 2.
Yeah. So who's to say that he doesn't go, all right, here's what I want to stay here, or SC's offering me this. Like then I'm I don't have to like it.
Yep.
But I can then go, okay, all right, I get it. But like now in spring practice, makes no sense.
Well, because the portal opens.
Well, I know.
Next week.
But
read that text again. That makes me laugh.
College QBs come and go. I bust my butt at my job. I'm not making $2 million a year, let alone asking for a triple step raise.
I mean, at your job, did you beat Alabama? Man, did you beat Florida?
Yeah, right.
I get it. Like but you're not. Stop wasting your time on a apples and oranges comparison because it's totally not the same. Yeah, should you be compensated at your job? Yeah, you want to make more money? We all feel that way. And if you don't, there's a problem with it right there. But for Tennessee and Nico right now, in the portal opening next week, I think he's calling their bluff. I think he's saying, "What you got? What do you got, Tennessee?" Right. I think this is a total stop. I think it's out there because not all they reported. If it wasn't a big story, why is everybody upset? If it wasn't a big story, like, oh, that's nonsense. Move on. But everybody's weighing in on, commenting on it. I'm telling you, and even Adam Sparks says it makes for a tense situation for the orange and white game tomorrow. I love drama when I'm not involved.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Andrew from Dover. If he wants to act like that, tell him to prove his worth or leave. Roll Tide, Andrew.
Right? There's 15 other SEC teams don't care. Like, if you lose your quarterback, good.
These are my favorite texts. 9926. He's not going anywhere. All right. Well, we'll just quit talking about it.
If they pay him, he's not. But
he probably isn't. But
the portal opening next week, and it's interesting to see what's going to happen because what if USC comes at him? He's like, all right, I can make $8 million out there. It's gone. Go chase somebody. That's fine. Wherever makes you happy, fine. Go do it. If you don't, I've always said, you don't want to be here, then go.
Yeah.
We don't want you here if you don't want to be here.
Tennessee 615 on X says, I'm glad for the kid. I hope he gets a raise. Full disclosure, I'm pro player. I hope he gets what he wants. If they don't want to pay him, let him go somewhere else that will pay him and go with the boy behind Nico. And you kind of agreed with that, but
Look, I'm all about you getting paid.
sure.
All right. But I'm not about you holding the school ransom.
Yeah.
You better pay me or else. Oh, or else what? Or else I'm leaving and this was going to happen.
Here's where I'll combine the real world to the world in which they live, which is real to them, but just the big difference. I think it's all very, I think people know I do a lot here at the radio station, right? So you think if I tried to hold Bud and Sean ransom and said, either you pay me X amount or else, or I'm going to go somewhere else, guess what I won't have tomorrow? A job.
Right.
It's very simple. Like, it doesn't work that way, in the real world. And that's the unfortunate part. Again, I'm with you. Like, get your bag, man. Like, you deserve it. But I think you've got enough right now. Go out and prove it a little bit more, and then we'll talk in the offseason. That's kind of my take.
But where was this in January? Where was
Yeah.
somebody got to him? Somebody got to the family.
Sure.
Somebody's talking to him. You can get more money out there someplace else. You can do that and all that. So now you have what it is. I think Nick sent me Dr. Crane sent me a text like Arch Manning's making $6.5 million this year. He'll make more next year.
Yeah.
I mean, so is Nico Arch Manning level? I think he's done more than Arch Manning has. But
That's
then
a good
again,
question.
But then again, look at Arch has the name and the Mannings and all that other stuff and the promise of what's, it's going to be a great year because of Arch Manning. He might be a terrible, we don't know, because he's coming in the games. He beat crappy teams when he was a starting quarterback. And he's coming in the game when they're already get third.
Well, they had
moving on.
They had a couple of design plays for him, but we haven't seen a whole lot.
Yeah.
It's a very small sample size.
Yeah, if you give me right now, I'm taking Nico over Arch Manning.
I'd probably agree with
I'll
that.
take Nico right now and see where it goes there because Nico has won games.
Yeah.
I mean, he did get them to the playoffs. The problem is the perception we had of Nico going in the last year was like, this guy.
He was anointed.
This guy, yeah.
Well, and there's the comparison between the two. They both have been anointed. Arch has been anointed because his last name's Manning, and he's going to be just as good as his uncle, not even his father, his uncle,
right,
and his grandfather, or uncles. It's like that. But just because his last name's Manning, he's a future NFL MVP and Hall of Famer. And then Nico, all we heard about for 2 years was, this Nico kid, just wait. He's going to be freaking awesome. And it's like, okay, he's good.
Yeah.
He's not freaking
right.
awesome.
You're right, man.
Not yet.
This is going to be fun to watch over the next 48, 72 hours because spring game is tomorrow. The portal opens and see what goes on. But they can talk all they want, but it's out there now.
5772. Kids are all entitled in sports these days. You can take in sports out. It's not just in sports. I'm 37 years old, and some people might consider me a kid still, but it's a little bit different. The truth is you have to work hard, put up the results, and you get compensated for it, either in sports or at our own jobs. You don't just get a raise for mediocre work. He was nothing special last year. If they pay him, they are paying for hype, selling tickets, and paying for the name on the back of his jersey. Simple. It's a good text.
Yeah.
That is a really good text. That is true. Cameron said Nico didn't earn the top of the sport money last year, and now he wants more. He had an okay season at best. 100%. I agree with you. It was not a great season. It was okay. He got him to the playoff.
So this is far-reaching now because you look at, the promise is there. I mean, the potential's there. Did he under-deliver last year? Maybe a little bit. We'll see that. But now, how does Tennessee react to this? Do they give into this? I mean, I don't.
The answer to that question is probably yes. And that's the problem.
I mean, you're going to pay him $6 million.
What's he making now?
2.5, I was told.
Yeah. I mean, they'll probably give
For
it.
the last 2 years, he's made that. That's what I've told.
So how all this works, so I understand this right, is basically, does the school go to a collective and say, hey, this is what we need?
I think so. I think that's how it works.
And then the collective raises the money. Now, how do the boosters get it? Or can boosters now work for the collective?
That's a great question. I don't know because if you have a guy who's worth $500 million, like Fred Smith, gave all that money to Memphis basketball program to be competitive. I think it's like whatever it was, 10 million a year or something like that. I don't know. I think you have to go through the collective because
Right.
the last thing you want, Chase McCabe, is to know that the University of Tennessee, out of their pocket, is paying Nico $6 million, where teachers and professors and all, we get to the whole they are underpaid. We understand all that. So, and then you got budget cuts. You're paying a guy $6 million. I don't know. I would think it would go through the collective. Probably need to look that up and figure it out.
But I figure all these big programs have a money guy. They have a guy that has deep pockets. You know, the Texas schools have the oil men.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that all have that are. It's what I like to refer to as FU money, basically. And it's just like, okay, yeah, what do you need? I'll cut you a check. Like, who is the Team Boom Pickens or whatever
For Oklahoma State?
Yeah. They had him forever, you know, that he just cut a check whenever they needed
That's
it.
right.
Frazier texted, or Dr. Crane texted us and said, Nico NIL value is $3.1 million according to On3, ranked 12th across all college athletes in the U.S.
Now he wants more.
No, he wants
Give me more.
Give
me my money.
more. Justin says Nico doesn't deserve a raise. He folded like a cheap tent later in the season. Job performance still matters in my world.
There's going to be a lot of that.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I have not seen? I've seen one guy that's texted in and said, pay him.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. There's a lot of no.
I mean, and I'm glad to know there's still some sense in this world. 615-737-1025. We'll continue to discuss that a little bit later on. But coming up next, I heard some interesting comments from a Tennessee Titan on a new podcast. And I want you, Joe, to hear these comments, and I want to know what you think. We'll do that coming up next. Also, you can text in the keyword Wilson, WILSON, to 615-737-1025 for your chance to win a pair of all-inclusive Eurostone Club tickets to see Lainey Wilson at Bridgestone Arena on Thursday, October 2nd. Distilled by Green River Whiskey. Sit back, relax, and bourbon. Green River Distilling Company, Owensboro, Kentucky. Alcohol volume varies by product. Please drink responsibly. Good luck. Hey, tune in to 94.9 The Fan tonight as the Nashville Sounds take on the Memphis Redbirds.
Maffles.
Pregame at 6:20, the first pitch at 6:35. Coverage also available on the Game Nashville app and at thegamenashville.com. Sounds baseball on 94.9 The Fan, presented by Twin Peaks and Family Leisure. I might just head
Man,
over
what
there
time's that
tonight.
game tonight over First Horizon?
6:35, Elvis.
6:30. Sounds versus Maffles.
Yeah,
All right, you do that on purpose. I know it's a reader, but
Yeah.
it's a. There's a movie in the 70s. I think it was called Telephone with Charles Bronson, where he was a programmed agent. So the phone would ring and somebody would be like, "Today's the day," or whatever it was, and he'd be like, "Go out and
Yeah.
he'd be changed or in a trance," and that's how when you say,
Memphis?
"Yeah," I was like, "Man," whatever I'm doing, I'd stop it. Man,
Well, there you go.
do you know somebody who grew up close to Memphis?
Who's that?
Jeffrey Simmons.
He sure did. So there, nice little segue
Thank
there.
you.
Jeffrey Simmons was on the Nashville Game Changers podcast, which of course is from our good friend Jill Jelnick at Fox 17, her new podcast that she started, and he had his charity event, the On the Runway event last night, and so he was her first guest, and went and listened to it yesterday. I kudos to Jill because Jeffrey's very guarded, and I think sometimes that does him a disservice, that he doesn't mean to, but when he is guarded, it comes across, I think, in a different way. I think Jeffrey Simmons is a good guy. I think he's a good player. I think he has potential to be a great player. He just has to continue to get better. I mean, I know this is year 7 for him.
Year 7, that's right.
But to me, I think there's another level. And when I say that, that's not an insult to him and anything that he's done, but I just think there's more there. I've said that about other people like Philip Forsberg, and I've said it to Philip's face, and he's like, "You're right." So I listened to this interview, and there were a couple things that really stood out to me. This one in particular, talking about the culture of the Tennessee Titans, and especially that under head coach now going into his second year, Brian Callahan. Here was Jeffrey Simmons on the Nashville Game Changers podcast.
At the end of the day, I think that was the biggest thing, the first biggest thing, being able to reach some of my teammates, because we have so many young guys who fresh out of college, they, the NIL thing, they already getting paid as, the same as some of these guys that have been in the league. So it's like, how do you really reach some of these young guys and, let them know that you're going to be hard as hell on them, but also, that at the end of the day, I'm out here to help you. I'm out here, trying to help you win a football game just like you. So, and like I said, that was my first time going through a coaching change in NFL. I've been through it in college. I think my 3 years of college, I had a different DC the whole year. I mean, my whole 3 years. And when I was at Mississippi State, so it wasn't a shock that I had a different coach. It was all. I think the biggest thing was, trying to figure out this new culture that we're trying to build, and because everybody knew the Vrabel culture. You came in, everybody knew, like everybody hearing how Vrabel coached, and that you hear about our foundation and the culture that he established way before you got there. I heard about it. They said when I first got drafted, people were telling me about Vrabel, this and that, I'm like, okay. But when I got there, it made even more sense. And I was under there for 5 years. So I think that also was not even, I wouldn't say a shock. It was more like, now it's time to really adapt to this new culture, being there doing OTAs and figure out, how Cali want things. And, and I think even with me and Cali, we had a great conversation at the end of the season, just about how things could get better, as a team and as a head coach. And, he's one of them guys that want to be a great head coach in this league, and I can see that happening. So, and one of the things I always say, even throughout the season when things was getting tough, like I told the media and I told you guys that I believe in what Cali preaching. I believe in Denard and everything they telling us that we're gonna get to that point eventually.
That was Jeffrey Simmons on the Nashville Game Changers podcast with Jill Jelnick. So here's what stood out to me on that. There was one thing in particular that like as soon as I heard it, I was like, still trying to figure out what this culture is under Brian Callahan. And my thing is, and this is, I mean, I appreciate Jeffrey for saying that because I think we all saw that they were trying to figure that out.
Yeah, right.
Don't you usually know that you walk into a place and like he mentioned it, he said with Vrabel, we knew what it was. We knew what it was.
Right.
Like there was no question. The head coach should walk in and go, guys, this is how it's going to be. If you don't like that, there's the door. It's very simple to me. And the fact that they're, and I get you have to then get your guys and build your core and your leadership group. And, you know, we've talked about Jeffrey Simmons that I think he's, you know, he's a big player on the team. I don't know if I consider him necessarily a leader on the team. I think some guys are wired that way. Some guys aren't.
Mm-hmm.
I think he leads in a different way. You know, I don't think he's the get in the huddle like a Kevin Byard and like, come on, guys, this, you know, this is what we're going to do. I don't view him that way, and that's not meant as an insult. But I kind of feel like the culture should be established by the coach, and that should have been done day one. And you and I talked about this quite a bit, that one big example involving Jeffrey Simmons that kind of showed us like, uh-oh, this is interesting, was that day at training camp when Jeff threw a punch and he didn't get thrown out.
Yep. You know who doesn't talk about culture? Follow me here.
Mm-hmm.
Buffalo Bills?
Nope.
Chiefs?
Nope.
Eagles?
Nope.
Ravens? You know why? Because they're winning.
Right.
You talk culture when you're on a terrible team. You talk culture when things aren't going your way. I'm going to be a leader on this team. I don't know, blah, 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 blah. You went after a radio guy. We saw it.
Sure.
He went after a radio guy because he didn't like the tweets. Once he did that, I'm like, this guy's nothing. And then it was like, well, you wouldn't say it to his face. I would say, why'd you go after a radio guy?
Yeah.
Because a tweet got to you? I'd say that to you.
And
I'm not built on your tough guy and I'm going to be a leader. You should have got thrown out of practice. When Callahan didn't throw you out of practice, we knew then, right then, I said, this team wins 3 or 4 games. And they won 3 games last year. We knew it. Callahan's not the answer. He's way over his head. And Simmons isn't helping this case at all either as well. He could blab all day about how great he is and all that and this and that. Don't care. Show me what you do on Sundays. That's all I care about, football-wise. Now, he's a good man. He raised a lot of money for his charity, helps people out. I'd love to talk more about that. That's great what he does off the field. But when you take this on the field and you expect this certain way and you're not living up to it, man, shut up, sit down.
I think it's a fair statement. 615-737-1025 is our phone and text line driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do you think of Jeffrey Simmons' comments on the culture? And again, I'll say this too. I have seen, well, let me back up. Jeffrey gets too concerned with what's said about him. We see it on Twitter. We see it on Instagram. His team put together this, you know, hype video or whatever that had tweets from Stillman that weren't even, I don't even think Stillman actually tweeted, and like all these things. You got to get over that. Like, you got to move on from that.
Right.
As someone that has a chip on their shoulder, and I've let one person in particular kind of get to me. Like, I get it, but use that to yourself. Use that as motivation, but keep it off social media, because that does you no favors, because it makes you look whiny. And I know that's not what he's going for. So that's and AJ Brown was the same way. It's just like, just get off Twitter. Just stop.
They're not going to.
You know, but as for the culture thing, you know, I think the good teams, the teams you just mentioned that are winning, they don't have to establish it. It's there.
Yeah.
It's just, and this one, you know, I think with Vrabel, the reason they won is because it was there. Like, hey, these are the rules. You either like them or you leave. That's how this is going to be.
Pretty simple.
615-737-1025. We'll react to that and get your reaction. Plus, he talked about some other things along these lines that we'll play for you. Coming up next, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game on this Friday. We're live at Kitchen Notes at the Omni Nashville Hotel discussing Jeffrey Simmons. He was on the Nashville Game Changers podcast with Jill Jelnick at Fox 17, and a lot of good stuff. Go check it out. You can just search Nashville Game Changers. It's wherever you get your podcasts. It's on YouTube as well. And I know Jill has a lot of great guests coming up, and then I'm also on it too. So I don't know how I got thrown in there with some of the other guests she has, but always a pleasure.
Probably
for
like,
sure.
damn it, Fisher and Simmons canceled. We need somebody quickly.
Go get that McCabe guy.
Yeah, he's over there. Go get him.
No, but I really thought that the Jeffrey Simmons interview was a good one because he opened up, and whether you agree or disagree with his comments, you know, I think it helps him when he's able to talk things out. And, you know, in some ways I get it because, you know, he's out there. I have no doubt that he's trying to do his best. Like, I will never question that guy's work ethic. Like, I'm never.
Okay.
I don't always agree with things that he says. I don't always agree with things that, you know, he puts on social media, especially. I think that he lets that kind of get in his head and get in his own way, and it affects him as a player. But that's my opinion. And one of the segments that, you know, she has is, you know, lets them kind of give an opinion. And I was very curious of where he was going to go with this when towards the end, when he was, you know, it was his time to kind of give a rant or an opinion. This was Jeffrey Simmons on what certain people say about him.
Whatever you want to rant about, this is your moment. So what is your opinion, Jeff? What do you got?
I'll start off with the NFL side of it. Especially playing my position. You know, in my opinion, I wish people were, you know, especially on the outside world, you know, they say, oh, he had a down year, this and that. But, you know, they don't take in consideration that, you know, I wanted to, you know, especially like this week, you know, they got the NFL coaches meeting and they all down there, the media down there. And why not just go ask some of these coaches, head coaches, what is your game plan against number 98 for the Tigers? You know, it's never single blocks.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of looking at in my opinion, instead of looking at the game stat sheet, look at the game itself and how many hands is on number 98 every game.
The tape. Watch the tape, right? That's what you're saying. Watch the tape.
You know, at this point, you hate to say it to the media because some people want to consider you as a butthole, but you know, it's like, you know, sometimes I do get a little frustrating, and you know, just to hear, you know, you not having a good year, what you think the problem is. I'm like, because I'm getting double teamed 95% of the game, so. You know, that's one of my opinion.
All right. That was a piece of that from the Nashville Game Changers podcast.
Gosh, that's about 2 minutes I won't get back in my life to hear him complain about getting double teamed. That we've never. I don't get on him for not getting sacks. It's not his job.
No,
his job is to create chaos, which he does quite well. I'm good with that.
I think we have said plenty of times on this show that Jeffrey Simmons is the catalyst for. It was Harold Landry, but whoever's on the outside, that you got to double team him, and you know that's going to happen. He said it like 95% of the time. He's not wrong.
No,
that's going to happen. Well, then that opens it up from the outside. It's just like, you know, Derrick Henry. They used to play 8 in the box and load the box on him to open up. Now he would get through it a lot of times,
right?
But it would open up other opportunities. I think that's a huge role.
No, it is. Look. The job of a defensive lineman is to create chaos and keep the blockers off the linebackers to make tackles.
Yeah.
That's their number one job. That's the number one job of a defensive lineman, and he's doing that.
Sure.
Right? It's not his fault their linebackers for the Titans suck. It's not his fault that they can't rush the pass. He's a hell of a player.
Well, and
but the fact that he said that, you know, if I complain, some media members will go, and I'm like, they're in your head, Jeff.
Yeah.
They're in your head.
That's
Quit being a whiny ass.
That's my advice. Is like, dude, don't stop worrying about what we say.
Refuse it. Jarrell Casey stopped doing interviews.
Yeah,
he's like, I got to play better, and what I'm saying is not important.
Yeah,
good.
Okay,
I'm all right. I'm fine with that. You were almost almost a Hall of Fame player if he would have a little bit better teams, people around him. He was
Casey?
that damn good.
Yeah.
Yes.
And look,
Shut his mouth.
I think Jeffrey Simmons can be better than Jarrell Casey.
Yeah, but when?
You know, and that's the question. And look, my hope was that, you know, Sweat would come in and take a little bit of that pressure off of him, where then you could really see him do his thing. But to me, it's just stop worrying about the outside noise. And that's, you know, Vrabel, I think, was good for him. Vrabel was the type of coach for Jeffrey Simmons that could, like, literally walk in and kind of smack him upside the head and be like, hey, focus on what you need to focus on, not what you don't need to focus on. And I don't know if he has that right now. But, you know, somebody says on our text line, he's talking about Jared. He does not need to give one bleep what Jared Stillman thinks about him.
No.
And I don't think as many people care what Jared says as maybe y'all might. But sure, they're going to hear it. They're going to hear what I say. They're going to hear what Jared says. They're going to hear what Paul says. They're going to hear what you say. You know, and that's fine. But it's the ones that can basically go, whatever, hold my beer, watch this. Like, that's how you need to be. And but I look again, she asked him to give his opinion.
Yeah.
He opened up.
Fine.
It clearly, I'm not going to say bothers him, but it's on his mind.
It does bother him.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are you going to do about it? Use that as fuel. Like, I'm sitting here right now. I listened to that interview and I'm like, I want him to shut us all up this year because I like him.
Right.
You know, he pissed me off a few times, but I like him. And so it's like, just go out there and be great. Whatever you got to do. And if this is part of his motivation, then fine.
Well, I don't give two iotas what he thinks or what he does. Just go play football. I always laugh back because it's a different age now. But, you know, can you imagine Mean Joe Green doing this in the 70s?
No.
Just play football. Go play football. And it's funny is that he thinks we're all thinking about him. I haven't thought about Jeffrey Simmons in forever until you bring him up because I'm just wanting to play football on Sunday. You'll be shocked how very little Jeffrey Simmons people think about you. And you're letting 3 or 4 different people get to you to figure this out, which is not good. And then you saw your confrontation at camp last year. Look, just go play football, man. That's it. That's all you got to do on Sundays. Go play football, help his team win. You're frustrated about where things are going. That's fine. You can open up. I got no problem with that. But stop letting the media, and the more you say they're not bothering you, the more they're bothering you. Just let it go, man.
So you don't wake up in the morning and go, I wonder what Jeffrey Simmons is doing today.
I used to. Then I
Yeah.
realized he's not thinking about me. Then I
Yeah.
stopped doing that.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
Did that hurt for a little bit?
for a couple days.
Yeah.
I'm telling you right
That's what
now.
she said.
You'd be you'd be shocked how little people think about you. You'd be
I know.
shocked.
Oh, I know.
You'd be shocked. We all get
Oh.
worried about all these people. They're not thinking about you.
I'm becoming more and more aware of that with each passing day.
Right? And that you can't control that. For example, I gave you a shout out.
People
yesterday.
people think about people that don't do crap for them,
Right.
more than they think about people that do crap for them.
So you were my hero yesterday.
Thank
And I
you.
want to take you behind the scenes because our show went down yesterday, right? And a lot of times when the show goes down, if I have something, I panic and I freak. You were cool as a cucumber, right? So the thing was, we have things that affect us all the time. They're out of our control,
Right.
constantly,
Right.
constantly. You know what we can't control is how we react to that. Your reaction yesterday was like, we got to get this done. And you were very calm, cool, collected, and got us back on the air.
My coffee hadn't kicked in.
You're very cool. No, you're very cool. Because what does complaining do?
It does. It just slows it down.
It does nothing, right?
It was funny. I told our Ryan Porth, who used to work here, I was with him last weekend, and we were telling about old times. And there was a time where we had a broadcast that like completely messed up and went down. And I was running it. He was back at the station, and he kept calling me and calling me and calling me. And finally, I answered the phone. I said, I can either tell you what's wrong or you can quit calling me and let me fix it, and then I'll tell you what went wrong. And
Right.
he goes, good point.
Yeah.
And hung up,
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's
So your reaction today was perfect. You couldn't control the system going down, but you control that. So with Jeffrey Simmons, you can't control all the external things.
Yeah.
Just control what you do. And you're a hell of a football player. Go out there, continue dominating. And look, the people that know football, know that you're getting double teamed.
Sure.
We know that you're
Sure.
getting. So I don't look at the stat. Oh, he had one. Stillman would rant. He had one tackle in the game, and I was looking like he was double teamed.
Right. The stat, I've never been.
Means nothing
the
to
stats
me.
don't matter to me.
Not for his position.
No.
Means
no.
nothing to me.
Look, he gets to the quarterback, then good on him because he's gotten through the double team and he's gotten to him.
Yep.
So coming up next, we'll talk to Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, get his thoughts on this and much more here on Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Hour number 2, Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. On this Friday, we're live at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. Always enjoy our time here, and we always enjoy our time with the man, Christopher Dwayne Sanders, who joins us now on our phone line, driven by WilsonCountyHoney.com. Chris, what's up?
Man, what is going on, fellas? All I got to say is 2 words: Cam Ward. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, you're in, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's written all on the board. I mean, when he steps foot off the plane, I mean, he's going to be the face of this franchise. I mean, he's going to be doing, all kind of commercials like Chuck E. Cheese and fitness commercials, all kind of stuff he's going to be doing. So it's going to be interesting. So we're just going to be, he's going to be the guy.
So I've been having fun with this ESPN Analytics draft simulator that you can do trades and you can do the whole 7 rounds and everything. And so I did another one last night where I picked Cam at 1-1. I traded 35, the second round pick for the Titans. I traded that to Dallas, and I got their basically I got 44, which was their second rounder, and I got their third rounder, which is pick 76, and I gave them I have 2 fourth rounders, so I gave them one of the fourth rounders. So now I have a third rounder too. And every simulation I've done where I take Cam Ward, the second round pick, I get Jaden Higgins, the wide receiver from Ohio State. You like that?
No. You said Jaden Higgins is from Iowa State.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Iowa State. I'm sorry. Yeah, I do. I mean, it's funny because me and TD, we talked about him. TD doesn't like him. I mean, I like him a little bit. I just think that, yes, he makes plays, but we want to see some more explosiveness. I mean, there's some other guys that you can pick, like Bo Collins. I think it's from Notre Dame. And I know Matthew Golden's not going to be there, but there's some guys that you can take because at the end of the day, you have to get an explosive receiver for Calvin Ridley. So, it's going to be interesting. I mean, because at the end of the day, if you look at the wide receiver room that the Tennessee Titans have, it really doesn't scare you. You have some guys in the room, but you don't have some guys that scare you. So maybe one of those guys we just talked about.
I love it. Chris, you ready?
Yes, sir. Oh, that's my song. Give it to me.
Go, Nick.
It's starting now. Ooh. I toss and turn in my bed. I toss and turn in my bed. In the morning when I think about you. Indeed, I do.
I need you to come to the draft show in 2 weeks and wear that cod piece.
Cham, no. No.
You can't wear it as a guy good as a guy that Cameo can? Come on.
Cham, if I wore that, they I can't.
D-Mace will give you a hard time.
No, everybody. It'll be on ESPN. It'll be on Jeopardy. It'll be on everything, man. I could no way.
Oh my God, I'm done. I'd love to see it, man.
Could you imagine me in my wide receiver gear and I had that on? Just the visual picture.
Yes. Oh my gosh. All right. So let's take it back when you were 13 days out of the draft. Take me back to the draft for you in 1995. When you're getting drafted. What's that like? The 2 weeks out for you? I mean, can you concentrate? I mean, I know people are talking left and right. Where are you going? What's going on? I gotta think there's a million things going through like a Cam Ward said, but also for when you did it.
I just think that it's just the uncertainty, because I was a 3rd round draft pick and I didn't know where I was going. How you had the draft pick guys, the gurus saying he might get drafted, he might be a free agent, he might go 2nd round. So just not actually knowing where I'm going, had the anticipation, sweating at night and can't sleep. But when the draft day came on, I turn on the TV, I'm sitting there with my mom and, we're both sweating and we don't know where we're going. But, it was kind of surreal, because when they finally went up there and said my name, they said it at the bottom, the Houston Oilers/Tennessee Titans select Chris Sanders from The Ohio State University. That's when it set in that I'm actually getting drafted. I'm actually in the NFL and I actually fulfill one of my dreams. So, just waiting the 2 days before because you have the uncertainty is just, man, it's like every nail that I had on my fingers was absolutely bitten to the core. That's how nervous.
Where did you think you were going?
I had no idea. I put myself in position to to open up some eyes in the combine and the individual workouts. Because when I ran 4.21 in my individual workouts, I opened up a lot of eyes. So I didn't really know where I was going. But you have a situation to where you're sitting there, you're like, well, I can go here and I can go there. I just didn't know. So once I figured it out that I got drafted third round, then that's when I was very, very excited.
Do you remember what team talked to you more than any other team? Because what I'm getting at, it seems like when a team talks to you the most, they don't draft you.
They don't. Do you know the Houston Oilers didn't talk to me at all? The team that talked to me the most, they didn't. I promise you, they didn't. I'm surprised that they drafted me because I thought the Washington Redskins at that time, now to call the Commanders, I thought they were going to draft him because Robisky was the wide receiver at that time, and he brought me into one of the offices at Ohio State. He was talking to me about coverages and routes and everything. So I'm like, man, I'm going to the Washington Redskins. Next, they drafted somebody that I didn't know, and I'm sitting there pouting and crying. And then I got drafted third round. So it was wild because the teams that don't talk to you are the teams that are laying in the cut, waiting to get you.
Chris Sanders is on the line with us. Forever Titans wide receiver. So we talked in the last segment about Jeffrey Simmons. He did an interview with our friend Jill Jelnick from Fox 17 and kind of opened up on some things. But I think it's clear sometimes that stuff gets to him, whether he goes on Twitter or he says it, in the media, that it just, and some guys are wired that way. How difficult is it? And I know, like, when you played, there wasn't Twitter. Yes. Had there been, you probably had a different opinion. But like, how hard is it to try and put the noise out and not let that bother you? And if it does bother you, how can you use it in a positive way?
You gotta, and I know this sounds kind of fun. It's like when you have a winter storm, you put on earmuffs so it takes out the cold, and that's what you have to do when you hear all the negative noise and the negative chatter. You have to put on earmuffs, because when you look at the internet, they're talking about everything. You're not a good player. You suck. You can't do this. So, and you can say this, and I know everybody says this quote all the time: "Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words would never hurt me." That's a complete lie, because words hurt. So what you have to do is you have to ignore the chat. You got to ignore what they say in the paper. You have to ignore what they say about you and understand who you are. Because when I first came out in the NFL, or when I was about to get drafted, all they said is he's a track guy trying to play football. He can't catch the football. He can't do this. So that started to affect my psyche, to be like, okay, wait, can I catch the ball? So what I had to do is I had to ignore it and say, you know what? I am a great player. I am a great runner. I can make plays. So when you have a situation to where you're looking at Twitter, you're looking at the paper, you're looking at all these things, you have to put on those earmuffs and drown out the noise with positive stuff.
Chris, I'm ready for the draft to get here.
Me too.
I'm tired of the speculation.
My gosh.
It is almost time. We're looking forward to having you be a part of things once again, and I hope you have a great weekend.
Love you guys, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, we love you too. Chris Sanders, Forever Titans wide receiver, joining us here on the program, and always love our conversations with him. We'll react to some of the things he had to say. I also did another draft. So
God.
I'm obsessed with this thing.
Did you get the Dykes guy again, please?
No, not yet.
Okay. Still early.
Not yet.
Lord.
But we'll talk about that much more. 615-737-1025. It's our phone and text line, driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Chasing Big Joe, presented by the Omni Nashville Hotel, where we are today at Kitchen Notes, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe live at the Omni Nashville Hotel. Dr. Crane is at the Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning Game Nashville Studios, home of the $99 yearly Beehive membership. With a buzz, it's always about great service. We'll have Greg Wyshynski join us here in just a few minutes, talk some hockey with him. We're both obsessed with this NFL draft simulator from ESPN Analytics. Like, I've done like 7 of these, and I know that, you know, it is what it is, but I keep ending up with some of the same picks whenever I do this on certain things. So I did another one just now. No trades, just stayed where the Titans were picking. Cam Ward, number 1 overall. Jaden Higgins at 35.
Mrs. Higgins.
Gunnar Helm, tight end at pick 103. Then I addressed defense with the next 2 picks. Josiah Stewart, edge rusher from Michigan at 120. And then at 141, Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, edge rusher from Georgia.
Georgia.
Round 5, Seth McLaughlin, a center guard from The Ohio State.
Hold on. Give it to me. Good. Keep going.
Pick 178, Dylan Fairchild from Georgia.
Georgia. All right.
And Joe's favorite, pick 188, wide receiver from Florida.
Oh, no.
Shamir Dyke.
You have picked this Dyke guy every draft. What is it about? If we don't get this guy, if the Titans don't get this Dykes guy, then there's a problem. Oh, show.
I know, right? By the way, during all that, we had like 3 people like look in here like, oh, what are these guys doing?
Yeah, it's like, oh my gosh. All right, I like that. So I did one now. So this is fun now for me.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at teams that are drafting up, not a quarterback. What's stopping the Arizona Cardinals from moving up from 16 to 1 to get Travis Hunter? They're desperate. They got the Marvin Harrison Jr., you get Murray. They re-signed their tight end.
Yeah.
To the biggest tight end deal ever. Now you get Travis Hunter.
Trey McBride.
Trey McBride, yes. Yeah. I get confused because there was a Titans player named Trey McBride.
There was a Trey McBride, yeah.
So the Cardinals, and you get their first, second, and third rounder. 16, 78, or 16 something else, and 115. I don't know. This is fun. I can't go. I mean, there's all the guys I've never heard of, but.
Well, okay, if I'm going to do that, like if you're going to go back down that far, then I'm probably going to try and then move back up into the top 10. This team needs a top 10 pick.
Okay.
I mean, I get what you're saying, getting all the. So who'd you end up taking?
Some tight end from Michigan, Colton Loveland. Something.
Yeah, at 16.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a top 10 pick there.
All right. What's next?
I can't tell if these guys play. I'm not. Jaden Higgins is still sitting there. All right.
Yeah. Higgins.
We're going to take Mrs. Higgins. We'll take that. Higgins is always sitting there. I'm not taking an offensive lineman from Ohio State. I'm not doing that. We saw that with Petit Frere, who was just awful. I wonder who Petit Frere's picking. Isn't he doing some
I don't know.
fantasy league or something?
He's like a
that?
fantasy
Is he still on the
analyst, I
team?
believe.
Oh, I'm sure that goes really good. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, they should train with the Cardinals. They could really.
There's a lot of it, like Teron and I are texting about this. He just sent me his. Like, there's a lot of people, and I did this in one of my mock drafts, that, you know, when you get into like 100 to 120 trying to get Xavier Restrepo to get Cam Ward his safety blanket, you know, guy that he knows from Miami. I don't hate that. I think taking a flyer on Restrepo is fine.
Yes. Yeah.
I would do that.
Right.
I would totally do that. TD has them taking Kyle Kennard. They trade into the 3rd round at 84, edge rusher from South Carolina. I would love Kyle Kennard.
So I've gotten the tight end from Michigan. I've gotten, and this is really good radio. Tight end from Michigan. I got the receiver from Iowa State, and I got the edge rusher from Oregon. I mean, if Borgonzi's listening, he should say, you know what? This Dubin guy's got something working over there. See what he's got going on.
Maybe.
I'm right. I mean,
how funny would it be if they have the show on right now and like they're like, wait. Hang on. They like this guy. We don't have him on our board.
Right.
Should we look into this?
Yeah. And by the way, Borgonzi,
Who's this dyke guy?
in Borgonzi, in my 26 years of playing fantasy football, I went to the playoff 21 times.
Yeah.
Won 3 championships, made the final game 8 times. So I know what I'm doing. I got my fantasy football. I know what I'm doing with these guys.
You remember the movie? Was it Invincible about Vince Papale?
Yeah.
Could you imagine a team, like just goes out one day and they go, look, we've had no luck at all. So we want one of you slappies to come down here and interview with us to be our GM. And we're going to hire you to be the GM. And they just hire some random guy and watch them win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like somebody hires Stillman to be the GM.
Right. It's the old like picking the
I actually think Stillman would be okay. as a
picking
GM.
something in football games. Somebody was like, yeah, my wife just picks who the cute mascot is.
Right.
And they win. I was like, holy cow, there's no rhyme or reason to what you're doing there. I don't know when you get this thing takes forever though. And that's what she said.
That is
And-
what she said.
So I got Colston. I with the Cardinals, I got their 16.
Hang on.
Yeah.
Nick, are you serious about this?
No, I wanted to play a joke. I can't go through with this. My conscience can't. do it.
Okay. All right. So who is this actually?
The Donut Man.
I would have killed you. I would have done. Not really, but like, all right. Let's go to the Donut Man. He puts on the call screener possibly Mike Borgonzi. And I'm like, what? Why is he calling
There's
in?
no way that dude's calling.
It's
in.
Clay. Hi, Clay.
Boys, we talked about the Masters any today.
No.
No, we have not.
I was actually there yesterday, and I'm headed back to Nashville.
Oh, nice. Great.
Did you get a pimento and cheese sandwich?
God.
I got 2 ham and cheese sandwiches, a drink, and a chocolate chip cookie for about $8.
That's awesome.
Wow. That's great, man. Now it makes me want to go to the Masters now.
Yeah, I tell you, I'm stuck in traffic. I'm almost back to Chattanooga, and I'm in bad traffic right now on 75.
Where
But
are you in Dalton, Georgia? Where are you?
I just passed Dalton. Yeah, I just passed Dalton.
Carpet capital of the world.
That's
it really?
right. I stopped
It
at
is?
Buc-ee's about 20 miles south of Dalton.
Did you see Joe's picture hanging in there? They supposedly have hung up a picture of Joe.
Yep.
I want to hear the promo, boys, of my laugh. I've never heard it.
No, Dr. Crane has it. It's a drop ready to go.
All right. Nothing will beat, though,
I
the
think-
day I called in, and I did not know I was on the air. If
Yeah,
you
he
boys
doesn't
remember
know
that,
right
it was
now,
when
so.
I went to the bowl game.
Oh,
Yeah.
we remember.
Oh, yeah.
Don't worry.
Clay, the look on Chase's face is something I'll never forget, ever. And I take blame because he wanted to hang up on him. Leave him on the line for a second. Awful. Clay, were you down there for 1 day at the Masters or 2 days? How long were you down there for?
I was down there just for yesterday. I drove down Wednesday afternoon and went to the tournament yesterday.
Where'd you spend the night?
Yeah, I met a friend of mine. A friend of mine that lives in Houston had tickets, and he invited me to meet him there and go to the tournament yesterday. Yeah, it was a blast.
Oh, nice. Did you stay hotel room in Augusta, or did you have to drive back or something?
Yes, we stayed at Holiday Inn Express on Washington Road, about a mile from the course. Had shuttle service to the course and back home.
And the whole Holiday Inn, all they heard was, "Those aren't pillows."
I have a claim to fame in Nashville sports talk radio. Did y'all
Getting
know
banned
that?
from Vanderbilt?
Yes, I'm the only fan that calls in to Nashville sports talk radio that's banned from his favorite school, and I wear that proudly.
As you should. Clay, we got to run
I
on
love
that, but thanks as
middle finger.
always.
See you, boys.
See ya. Thank you, Clay, for joining in. Coming up next, we'll talk to Greg Wyshynski. The playoffs are almost set. It is almost here. We'll do that coming up next. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game. One of the greatest sports themes. Chasing Big Joe, 1025, 1063 The Game here on this Friday. We're live at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. And time now to talk to our man, Greg Wyshynski, senior NHL writer at ESPN, brought to you by Old National Bank. Get old. And Greg, last week we thought it was close, and Alex Ovechkin breaks the record, and he is the all-time goal scorer in the NHL. I'm curious. I don't know if you have this data or not, but I would love to know how many people bet that he would score a hat trick on ESPN Bet for that game Friday night.
And how many people were losing their minds when he decided not to come out and score the empty netter to break the record on home ice? I mean,
I know.
I don't have that data in front of me. I can tell you though, from the folks at ESPN Bet that I know, and some of them have written about this on the site, that was like an historic prop bet. The people that were tailing Ovechkin during this record chase, like they were setting records, not only on ESPN Bet, but other places, insofar as the volume of money coming in on whether Ovechkin was going to score a goal that night. It was pretty impressive. But I wasn't there for the tying goal. I was at the Islanders game when he broke the record, and that was a real cool moment. And as much as I was like bummed that he didn't get the hat trick in front of the home fans and be able to celebrate in Washington, breaking the Gretzky record, to see him do it in the manner in which he did against the Islanders, scoring from the OV spot, doing the thing he had done so many times, and being able to achieve this record with a rip-roaring shot through a bunch of defensemen on the power play. There definitely was something much more satisfying about that than if he had just completed the hat trick with an empty netter.
So now that this is, I don't want to say out of the way, but now that he's accomplished this, they wrap up the top seed in the East. I mean, what are the chances you give this Washington team to make a run?
I think they're pretty good. I think they're a really good hockey team. That win over Carolina was really important for them because they honestly hadn't been playing great. And a lot of us who had been around the Capitals these last few weeks were curious whether the hype train surrounding Ovechkin and trying to break this record had kind of maybe like derailed the Capitals season a little bit. They had done such a good job, and Spencer Carberry, their coach, deserves a lion's share of this credit, keeping focus throughout the season and with all of this Gretzky chase stuff happening in the background. I think, once Gretzky and the commissioner start showing up for every game, it gets really real. And now there's like tons more media. I do think it became a distraction towards the end of the run. So for them to get the win and look like themselves was real proof of concept that, we're going to get back on track. We got a week before the playoff starts. I think a lot of people are disappointed because outside of Ovi, they're not really a star-driven team, but they play a really, really good system. I think they're strong at 5-on-5, and drawing Montreal in the first round is going to be a little scary for Caps fans who remember when another plucky Canadiens team that had nothing to lose upset them 15 years ago in the Yaroslav Halak series. But if you look at Montreal and their underlying numbers at even strengths, I'd be surprised if the Capitals couldn't take advantage of it and at least get to the second round.
Greg, last night the Nashville Predators made their first visit to Utah. Fun game to watch, fun crowd. And I'm going to ask this question about Utah. How do you, after moving from Arizona there, I mean, this team, this franchise, that city, there's a lot of upside on that hockey club. Even though they're not going to make the playoffs, they got a pretty good future here. At least I think after watching what I saw last night with all the ambiance around this franchise currently.
Yeah, it's funny that there was always this discussion in Utah about when Arizona clearly had to move, whether the owners in Utah were going to be cool taking on an existing team or if they were going to hold out for an expansion team, given how the current rules have set up Vegas and Seattle, for example, so well. And I always said, if there's a team that you want to take over, it's the Coyotes. Like, they have a ton of draft capital. They already had a bunch of really good young players on the roster, including Logan Cooley and Clayton Keller. They had a bunch more, especially on defense, in their system that was ready to come through. So I think Utah really lucked out by getting a team that had been rebuilding for a couple of seasons and already had a bunch of young guys ready to make the NHL or already on the roster. The intriguing part about what they do next, though, is, look, I mean, Ryan Smith spent a lot of money to buy this team. He's got his own people at the tippy top of the franchise in hockey operations. Those people did not hire this GM. They did not hire this coach. It will be interesting to see if, because Utah did not make the playoffs, if there is any turnover for GM Bill Armstrong or with their coach because of ownership and management just not having been a part of bringing them onto the organization. And then the other intrigue too is, like, they were already aggressive last summer in making the Mikhail Sergachev trade in trying to make this team better. They have every reason to want to continue to make a splash in a new market. How aggressive will they be in free agency? How aggressive will they be in maybe utilizing some of that draft capital and maybe even trying to offer sheet somebody?
How much do you pay attention to a team when they get to the playoffs? Like Dallas has lost 4 straight, but I think Dallas, the stars are going to be there. Do you put a lot of into that tank of like, oh, they're peaking at the right time, oh, they've lost 4 going into the playoffs, all that? How do you look at that when you get to the extra season?
Depends on the team. Like, there are good teams that stumble into the playoffs, and you're just like, you guys are just bored. Like, you just want to get there. I get it. Like, these games at the end of the season are meaningless. Like, half you guys are taken off. It's a bunch of guys from the AHL coming up and getting their reps in. So I don't put a ton of stock into some teams when they kind of coast into the playoffs on some bit of a losing streak. Where I do pay attention to it is if there are teams that are lower seeds, wild card teams, for example, that come in absolutely on fire. The greatest lesson I ever learned about that was that Blue Jackets Lightning series a few years back, when the Lightning were the best team in hockey. They were in cruise control for 2 months. The Blue Jackets basically played a playoff game every night just to get into the postseason. And then they just beat the snot out of Tampa and swept them in the first round because of that sort of differentiation in momentum. And so I really pay attention to the lower seeded teams and how they're playing rather than the higher seeded teams. And if you're Dallas, the wins and losses in the standings don't matter. It's the loss of your best defenseman in a series against the Colorado Avalanche that has me really concerned about a team that I think, when healthy, could win the cup this year.
Greg Wyshynski is with us from ESPN here on the Chasing Big Joe show. So I had a good friend of mine ask me about a long shot bet for the Stanley Cup. I mean, is it St. Louis? Could they do this again?
They could. When they're locked in, they've shown already that they're a pretty great hockey team, and obviously it took a little bit of time for Jim Montgomery to really get them to buy in and play the totality of his system. And once they did, they started rocketing up the standings. They're a dangerous team, no doubt. I'd have to check the odds to see, what the ones in the Eastern Conference look like, because honestly, I feel like the East is a little bit more wide open than the West is right now. The West, you could easily see the winner of that Dallas-Colorado series win of the whole conference. I think Vegas is probably in that boat too, as far as teams where if they're at full strength and there's a little bit of injury question with them right now, could win the conference. I'm fading Edmonton. Not only because of the inconsistency of their play this year, but because I don't think that they can depend on that goaltending 2 years straight. But, with the East being the way that it is, you could easily see somebody jump up that we're not talking about right now and potentially win that conference. I mean, heck, we were just talking about Washington. I know at last check, their Stanley Cup odds are pretty long. Like, there's a ton of value, I think, in some of those teams in the East right now.
Going to be interesting, almost here, and then we'll have an off season to talk about what the Preds are going to do. Greg, appreciate it as always.
Anytime. Thanks, boys.
Greg Wyshynski, senior NHL writer from ESPN, joining us here on the Chasing Big Joe show, presented by Old National Bank. Get old. Coming up next, we'll say goodbye to a old friend, and also, what day is it? And celebrity birthdays. It's Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Chasing Big Joe, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. I feel like I'm about to read the card for WrestleMania with this song. Live at the Omni Nashville Hotel at Kitchen Notes. And, you know, if you heard the end of Robbie and Rex Road, you heard that Nick Keyser, the reporter, the nickname that I'll take credit for that one, that I gave him when he early in his career, is leaving us on to bigger and better things, but we wanted to give him an opportunity on this show because you did spend some time in this time slot with me and Michelle when we did the show, and you were a part-timer when I first took over, but one of the first moves that I made, I think, moving you into kind of an EP role. But excited to see you continue to grow. We're obviously going to miss you here, but wanted to treat you to some breakfast and have you come down here with us for a little bit. I think you're on now.
Yes.
Talk.
Hey, Nick.
Hello.
I'll talk for Nick. Yeah, Chase, thanks for the opportunity you gave me when I was here. And I made a lot of good friends around there.
Well, it's on, and he's not.
Walking in there with and seeing my Nashville's media darling,
Hello.
Big Joe.
There we go. Yeah, there it is.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
You bet, buddy.
That one.
Good impression.
Yeah, so, you know, we're excited for you and whatever is next, but like I said, yeah, we will miss you around here.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's been a pleasure. Yeah. It's been a lot of fun. As I was telling the guys this morning, you know, growing into a role that I knew nothing about at first when I jumped into it, it was a lot of fun. And like
I don't know if you really still know, know anything, but no, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, well, no, Porth. I mean, look, the sentence and everything that I quoted in my story, you know, he threw the kitchen sink at me and then handed me off to you after he quickly departed a few months later for Chicago. But look, it's been a lovely ride. I've enjoyed it. You guys have given me a lot of opportunity here and room for me to explore my passion. So yeah, it's been good. So
did you post a story?
I did on Substack.
I don't know what that is.
Where?
Substack.
Is that a place that makes subs?
That's the main thing now.
Oh, I see it now.
Substack?
Oh yeah.
Okay. I write a lot of it. I mean, I think I've heard about it.
I got a
Substack.
portfolio website, but I wanted to do something different for this to kind of get it started since the brand is going elsewhere for myself.
Okay.
So yeah,
for
it's
you.
just lower broad. So, and then I've also like my own portfolio will be Beyond the Point. Nick Frazier helped me out with that. So thank you, Dr. Crane, for that. I really do appreciate
You're
that.
welcome.
So
Beyond the Point.
yeah. So
Yes. Very, very cool. I know, you know, you're kind of the one that when people leave, you've put together a little thing for them. So
yeah.
obviously we couldn't have you do that for yourself, even though that would have been kind of funny. So Dr. Crane took the liberty, and I know a few people have made some additional comments on top of what we have to say. So here you go.
Sure.
Hey, Keyser, it's Newt. Just wanted to wish you good luck in the future. You know, you and I have been through a lot together. I started as your intern, kind of worked my way up to do Preds with you, and we've been friends. We had the show together for a while, and really just want to wish you luck. Hope we get to see you soon. Hope we're still friends throughout all of this. And really, man, we're going to miss you around here, so good luck.
Keyser, Adam Bingen here. Congratulations on your next steps. We'll miss you dearly. I particularly will miss making fun of you on a daily basis, but I do it out of love. I know you're off to bigger and better things. I can't wait to see what you get into. Good luck, my friend.
Hey, Nick, it's Michelle here. Just wanted to say congratulations on your last day at the game. Looking forward to see you grow in the hockey world. The best is yet to come. Good luck.
Hey, Keyser, it's Jake Lyman. Wanted to say thank you for everything you've done for me over the past 2 years and wish you luck moving forward. I know you'll do great in your next steps.
Hey, Nick, producer Ian Safar here. Just wanted to say it's been great working with you over the last couple of years. You've been a huge help to me and our entire station. I know Robbie and Joe are going to miss your energy in the mornings, and hopefully I can keep these guys on the rails for you. Wishing you the best of luck as you continue your path on becoming not only a hockey reporter, but the hockey reporter.
When I first met Nick, I thought, this dude's a bit of an odd bird. And now with Nick leaving the game, I think, this dude is a bit of an odd bird. Best of luck to you, my friend. Thanks for everything you've done for me at the game. And let me know if I can ever be of help.
Nick Keyser leaving? That just can't happen. Here's a guy who is always ready to run a Predators report, even if there wasn't a game the night before, or even if the season is over. But I got to tell you, Nick, I am very much appreciative of what you have done, and I know this is running long, but by God, you deserve it. Nick, all the best to you in the future.
Nick Keyser, my friend, you are part of history. You are one of 3 full-time producers in the history of the Robbie and Rexroad program. Marquise Munson, Michelle Knezovic, and Nick Keyser. And I want to tell you, my friend, that you are unequivocally, without question, beyond argument, no questions asked, no response can be given. You are on the Mount Rushmore of the greatest producers in the history of the Robbie and Rexroad program. Congratulations, my friend. And in all seriousness, Nick, we're going to miss you dearly. You have brought a lot of life, a lot of professionalism, a lot of joy, a lot of fun to this show. And we can't wait to watch what happens for you from here. The life you and Kristen build. I know you love hockey. You have a passion for covering hockey. You're going to do it at a high level. And we can't wait to watch it unfold. Thanks for everything. We love you, brother. Good luck.
Keyser, I'm really proud of you. Really proud of the work that you've done on our show and excited to see where things go for you in your career. I know you've got a huge passion for hockey, and that's going to serve you well as you move forward. You're going to do great things in that business. So I can't wait to watch it. Really thankful for you and the work that you've done with us, and proud to call you a friend, my man.
Well, very well done. Good job, Dr. Crane, for putting that together. Leave it to Paul Kaharski. You know, like I said, when I took over as program director, you had been here for a couple months as a part-timer, and I think you've heard me give this speech of you have to create your own opportunities, and that's certainly something that you did. I'm not going to say you're an odd bird. You're unique. You are. And that's a credit.
Yeah.
That's a compliment. You are your own person, and you're going to do great things. And I have no doubt that there's going to be one day that we're going to be saying, let's go to ESPN or whatever insider Nick Keyser, who's on the line with us, because I know hockey is your passion, reporting is your passion, and as we've said as you and I have had in the conversations many times, you need to go chase your passion, go chase your dreams, and I'm living proof of what chasing your dreams can do. It's a hard road, and Joe is as well, but we're proud of you. We're going to miss you and definitely wish you the best. You're welcome back anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, well done, Dr. Crane.
Joe, do you have anything to add?
I mean, he knows how I feel.
Yeah, Donaldson's finest just over here.
Yeah, you two have a connection. So
yeah, Big Joe, actually, short story. I remember when I was applying for the full-time position, I actually gave Big Joe a call, and he asked me about what are you going to do if you didn't even do it, and I was like, you know,
did you apply for the full-time?
I did. Yeah,
I don't remember you applying.
I did. It was listed, but yeah, and Big Joe and I had a conversation, and I was like, this would be a really good idea. No matter how long I get to do it, it would be a great thing for me. And it absolutely was. And it grew into Chase Willie D Mace. It grew into me playing the Ron Bump music sometimes. The Duke of Earl will live on forever and ever, for me at least. So there are several memories I can go on for sure.
Did well, man. Proud of you, buddy.
Yeah.
We usually would do celebrity birthdays and all that, but we wanted to give you some time.
Yeah.
So I could say hi. So this segment, Nick Keyser's Goodbye, is brought to you by Jarrett Companies, Inc., above and beyond industry standards. Just visit them at jarrettcompaniesinc.com. We look for, I know Lower Broad, we can see you, see some of your work still.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Like on the corner?
I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, how are you going to get into the building? Because I have to take your credential today. So
no,
I'm just kidding.
I have that worked out.
Yeah.
I am credentialed for the rest. There's a very short time left,
Yes,
but we're all good
3
to
games.
go. Very few games.
Well,
yes.
good luck. Don't be a stranger, and we'll see you soon.
Absolutely. Sounds good.
That is going to do it for us. Thanks to the Omni Nashville Hotel for having us. We will see you again on Monday, Joe, as we end our show.
We always end our show. Look, the weekend is here. Go out and do something good for yourself. It's not selfish, it's deserving. If you need to talk to somebody, you know what to do. On your cell phone, call or text 988. Somebody's always there to talk to you. Know that you are tremendously loved. We love you, and more important, more than anything else in this world, God loves you.
Amen to that. Peace, love, rock and roll DVD coming up next. 102.5, 106.3, The Game.